everybody. There's going to be a video.
All right.
Okay.
Bye,
They
all.
just
Nice
want
to
us
see you.
to unmute when they call the roll.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome to the 2021 State of the City for Bloomington, Indiana. I'm Mayor John Hamilton. I'm so glad you are with us. I'm sequestered in City Hall, as you may see in my office, so I'm going to remove my mask. These are different times. We're not in the Buskirk Chumley. here in City Hall. Unlike usually where we gather together, I do appreciate you all gathering as you can remotely. We are broadcasting this on Facebook Live, on CATS, on the city's YouTube channel, and it will be recorded for all who want to see that. And thank you for being part of this. Thanks for that. The State of the City is technically a city council meeting. So we will be that will begin quite soon. I'll be handing that over. It will be convened, called to order, the roll called, and then there will be an additional video after that, a remembrance video as we begin this evening. But for now, let me just say thank you for being here, being part of this. I look forward to spending the next minutes with you. And I'm going to hand it over now to the Vice President of the Bloomington City Council, Sue Scambaluri, who will gavel this meeting to order. And then I know Clerk Nicole Bolden will take the roll, and then we'll move on to the video, and then I'll be back with you shortly. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you, Mayor. And on behalf of my colleagues on City Council, welcome everyone. It's Thursday, February 25th, 2021. This is a special session of the Bloomington City Council. Our council president, Jim Sims, is unable to be with us tonight, and I am substituting for him, and I would like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Bolden, will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Barallo,
Here.
Bolin,
Here.
Rosenbarger,
Here.
Scambaluri,
Here.
Flaherty,
Here.
Piedmont Smith,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Sandberg.
Here.
I have Sims marked as absent, and that should be everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With that, I'll just offer a final reminder that our meeting will conclude at the end of tonight's program. And with that, I will turn it back to the mayor and the city to begin the program. Thank you, everyone.
That was a very powerful reminder for our community of what we've been through. This is my 6th State of the City, and it is a distinct privilege to serve as your mayor. I feel great optimism about the years ahead, but what a year we have just had. 2020 was extraordinary, challenging, and clarifying. In our time this evening, I'd like to spend a few minutes remembering this past most unusual year, and also talking about how we are now recovering and will recover. And finally, how I believe we can renew our community, where we are headed next. These three things frame our time tonight: remember, recover, and renew. With this annual formal gathering held as usual in Black History Month, we begin by acknowledging the historical experience of Black people whose immeasurable contributions to our country and our community have been in the face of 400 years of racial discrimination, which demands our current attention and energy. We also acknowledge at the outset that this land, Southern Indiana, was first called home by indigenous peoples, including the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, Shawnee, and others, also subject to centuries of discrimination and abuse, and to whom we owe ongoing respect and honor. Part one, remember. Let's begin tonight remembering. Think back just a year ago. Last year's State of the City was February 20th. I did not mention the words coronavirus or COVID. I didn't foresee what was coming. The first reported US COVID-19 death was just over a week away then in the state of Washington. Let's think back. What has happened to your family and you since then? To your workplace or your school, your friendships, your daily patterns, your home and gatherings with others, your plans, your worries. A city is a great big family, a collection of thousands of individual family stories that make up Bloomington's story. Those family stories have often been tragic. 160 Monroe County families lost loved ones, including my own family. Last April, my wife, Dawn, was hospitalized and very sick with COVID. She was in the Bloomington Hospital, and her brother in another one near Indy, when her mother died alone in a third hospital from COVID. Across the country, more than 500,000 families share that burden of empty chairs at family gatherings due to COVID. Broken hearts. And of course, families lose loved ones for other reasons as well, and our hearts go out to them. It was a hard year for many of us. The stories of 2020 have also been inspiring as neighbors helped neighbors, as healthcare workers soldiered on through great risk and exhaustion, as essential workers made sure we had milk and prescriptions and food and electricity and water and transportation and deliveries and public education and childcare and public safety and more. We cooperated with and cared for each other. We faced national misinformation and denial, but locally worked together and put tighter controls in place to help Bloomington be among Indiana's strongest communities in dealing with this deadly, enormously disruptive pandemic. We will get out of this terrible hole, and likely this year, with vaccinations. Please get yours when it's your turn. I'm looking forward to mine in mid-March, and with continued distancing and masking. Let's remember a few shared lessons from 2020. We learned that change is possible as a community and as people. We really can change, and very quickly sometimes, and radically when we have to. Our schools, our workplaces, our families, our recreation and socializing. How dramatically did we have to change so many of our ways? It's good to know we have that capacity. Inside city government, within 2 weeks last March, we revamped entire departments and work styles. From Zoom council meetings to drive-through farmers market to remote police roll calls, I convened 2 community-wide working groups to support the economic recovery and our safety net, and established weekly press conferences with the city, the county, and IU to keep everybody informed. We trained tenants to do their own apartment inspections with kits left at their doors. We closed Kirkwood to cars to allow safer outdoor dining. New high-efficiency filtration systems at firehouses provided safer air against the pandemic. And, of course, stores, restaurants, retailers, performing arts groups and galleries, therapists and exercise classes, schools and pupils and teachers, everyone had to adapt so dramatically and so quickly. We even had to learn new language, parklets and PPE and PUDO zones, oh my. We also learned that one emergency doesn't make others disappear. The pandemic was an unusual emergency, but other emergencies persisted, even intensified. Climate change marched inexorably on. Whether we pay attention or not, our climate emergency threatens our lives and our planet. Economic hardship and inequality in jobs and in housing were exacerbated by the pandemic. People suffered from substance use disorder and experienced homelessness. Mental health issues rose. Racial bigotry and bias took center stage during 2020. Bloomington witnessed our largest racial awareness and inclusion demonstrations of a generation or more, affirming that Black lives matter, even as the pandemic disproportionately took the lives of people of color. Black and Latino Americans were hospitalized at twice the rate and died from COVID at 3 times the rate of white Americans. We learned that trust is essential. We had to trust science and facts to get through this pandemic. Hoping and fantasizing or arguing and pontificating don't protect us from the virus, nor drinking bleach. Masking and distancing do. Testing does. The vaccine does. We learned we need to trust each other to protect each other. Dave Chappelle noted that trust wasn't evident when COVID started, when people bought bullets and hoarded toilet paper. It was hard to trust government when the president focused not on science and facts, but on bluster and denial. But thankfully, we are on steady ground nationally now, and locally we have worked extremely closely together from the start with real trust and needing all to be involved and included, as we were learned in new ways this year. Our health depended on thousands of workers willing to show up and step up. Our community's very survival depended on essential workers of all kinds being on the job every day, even at risk to themselves and their families. Thousands of students depended on their teachers learning new skills. Communities survive with resilience, cooperation, and vision. Even when those essential qualities are missing elsewhere, we can nurture and cherish them here. Bloomington was able to do as well as we did thanks to exceptional teamwork from and with Penny Caudle in the County Health Department, Lauren Rebell in Indiana University, Brian Shockney in IU Health System, with our local public schools, and with so many others. Local arts organizations faced this crisis that decimated their audiences and threatened their own survival. Our artists, so central to Bloomington's identity and so powerful in these troubled times, showed resilience and adaptability and, yes, great creativity. Let's take a moment now to appreciate how a couple organizations, among the many we so esteem, took their arts into new territory so the show could go on. Thanks to Cardinal Stage Company, first, for taking us behind the scenes of making their walkabout radio plays for folks to enjoy on earbuds while strolling outdoors. And then thanks to the Bloomington Symphony Orchestra for showing us how they spread out and masked up in the Buskirk Chumley Theater to celebrate Beethoven's birthday in style. 2020 was tough. Our artists made it more bearable. I hope you enjoy the examples. We may play those for you later, I understand. So look forward to seeing, we may play those later. I gather there's some technical difficulties. So look forward to those videos in short order. We will connect those at the right time with you. And you will see Cardinal Stage and Bloomington Symphony Orchestra as they give examples of the great way the arts helped us get through this. For now, let's go to part 2, recover. We are so touched by how many people, including our artists, found ways to cope and create during the last tough year. As we remember, let's consider our recovery. Where are we now in early 2021? The short answer is, and it's no surprise, we still face major threats as a community. The worst pandemic in 100 years is not over. That is job one, to climb out of it and save lives. We will, but it will take many more months, perhaps all year. Continued strong cooperation among our health sector players and continued good individual actions, distancing and masking are essential and will steer us to the calmer waters. Please, we have to stay the course even while relief is in sight. In the meantime, our economy is in a serious recession. Certain sectors in a depression. In the past 12 months, our metropolitan area lost thousands of jobs. At one point, nearly 12,000, and still many thousands are gone. That's an enormous ongoing cost. Family income lost, employers gone or at risk, treasured nonprofits hanging on by fingertips. Restaurants and venues and events may go under. Families face eviction or foreclosure. Our country is down nearly 10 million jobs in the last 12 months. Federal support efforts are finally ramping up, thank goodness, with more sensible, responsible leadership in Washington. And I'm so glad City Council and my administration teamed up with Recover Forward to support job growth and job training and nonprofits who help those in need. Recover Forward began last summer, dedicating about $8 million to help claw up from this economic calamity, reflecting a shared commitment of our administration and City Council to be a counter-cyclical force, providing vital economic stimulus and support. This is how government can indeed help to support and sustain our local economy and our local people. That's what we did and should continue to do. Beyond these front burner efforts on our pandemic and our recession, many other significant projects and efforts are on our plate right now. Here are 5 big ones. 1, many Bloomingtonians face serious housing insecurity. Together, in the past 5 years, we've created or preserved nearly 1,400 bedrooms of affordable housing and another 5,000 at market rate. Even as we continue this focus, we know many more are needed to address real pressures felt by so many of our neighbors or future residents. And the pandemic only intensifies the need and the risks. I greatly appreciate our United Way and Community Foundation stepping up to coordinate a regional response for our community. Number 2, we have big infrastructure projects underway and in the pipeline. Thanks to the bicentennial bonds, we anticipate 4 major new trails at the 7 line, at Griffey Lake, at Cascades, and from Switchyard Park past RCA Park. We will open 2 downtown garages this year, 1 replacement and 1 supporting new jobs in the Trades District. We're investing nearly $40 million for historic upgrades to our downtown stormwater system, wastewater plant expansions, and water main replacements. We're adding electric buses and improving bus stops and expanding sidewalks and activating downtown alleys. All of this investment helps our city and supports hundreds of precious local jobs too. Number three, we embrace the extraordinary opportunity of a new neighborhood at the city's core. With the recently completed hospital reuse master plan and years of collaborative development ahead to create new homes for people from all walks of life, as well as great new public spaces and sustainable places for jobs and retail and entertainment. Number four, two significant planning efforts will conclude this year with the zoning map and unified development ordinance, as well as our first comprehensive climate action plan. We also look forward to the continuing work of the Divided Communities Projects, Racial Equity, and Future of Policing Task Forces. Finally, fifth, we have two significant reviews underway. What is the future for the Convention Center and its planned expansion? And what is the future for the Waldron, which the city again owns? That's a big to-do list. Now, remember, our plate has been very full, not just last year, but for 5 years, and our shared accomplishments are many. To borrow from a local songwriter, we can do these hard things. Don't be daunted by a big to-do list. Remember just a sample of our community's recent accomplishments that have positioned us so well. Opening the jobs-focused trades district with the state's fastest growing co-work space, the Mill. Opening Switchyard Park, our biggest parks project in history. Helping employers expand, such as Catalent, tripling to 2,200 local jobs, and opening later this year the new $550 million IU Health Regional Academic Health Center, our community's biggest ever single economic development project. The city bought the current hospital property and completed that master plan for redevelopment. We added those 1,400 affordable bedrooms. We enhanced our basic services with a public safety local income tax. We planted thousands of new trees. We upgraded our city-wide trail network and dramatically expanded solar energy production. We reimagined and reformed our sanitation department, our utilities department, and our housing authority. We doubled our investments in basic city infrastructure and completed a comprehensive plan, a transportation plan, and a sustainability plan. Our Parks Department won a national gold medal, and our city just won Lead for Cities designation. I can't help mention the importance of passing a school referendum and a food and beverage tax, and oh yes, dealing with a new interstate highway that opened nearby. I do not know of any other 5-year period in Bloomington history with this much major activity. We did these hard things, and are dealing with a pandemic and a recession too. This is what we do, even when times are hard and when it's easy to get down. City government doesn't stop. We work on. I'd like to pause a moment and share some special thanks. First, thanks to all city employees who have gone above and beyond this past year and these past 5 years. They are true public servants. They are a treasure to our community. All 850 people who work for the city of Bloomington and our affiliated entities. So please join however you can in a big, big thank you to our public servants. Thank you. Second, I do want to give a special shout out to 2 stalwart and stellar city employees. Dora Sims, who retired last month as Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development, and Mick Renison, who is retiring in April as Deputy Mayor. I cannot imagine the past 5 years without their leadership and efforts. So please join me in expressing a big Bloomington thank you for their combined 78 years of city service. We will review the recovery and progress and these efforts to support individuals and families in our community, and another time share a brief video tribute to those employees who've helped us recover thus far and are going to keep at it. They show up every day and late and into the night, rain or shine, snowing or flooding or steaming, good times and bad, to make sure our residents are protected and served. And also another time, we'll have the privilege of hearing a more personal expression of how important recovery is, how what we do as a community can change lives together. We'll hear from a member of Women Writing for a Change, a program that serves women in incarceration in our community, that will be read by the creative director, Beth Lodge Regal. So let me thank all of you again for being with us, and I think you can hear that message at some time. I know you can't hear it right now due to technical difficulties, but thanks, as you will hear from Women Writing for a Change, from Olivia Strozier, New Leaf, New Life. Recovery, both community and individual, is critical, and it's front burner. It matters to real people right now, right here, and we must recover forward. That's renewal. Part 3, renew. If 2020 was a low point, we make 2021 a turning point. Pivot out of the pandemic and recession into the future we want to live in. To renew our community takes vision and grit and cooperation. President Biden calls it Build Back Better. The fundamental question in our renewal is, who do we want to be? As we pivot from the debilitating, deadly start of 2020, how will we act in the rest of this decade? What is the role of a progressive community like Bloomington in the heartland of America as we navigate the next 10 years? I hope we all can agree that when Bloomington thrives, our county thrives and our region thrives. If Bloomington falters or weakens, so too our county and region. With Bloomington as the economic, social, and cultural engine of the region, our renewal, our future, depend on us doing the right things and being the Bloomington that we should be. Early last year, I highlighted what I see as the two major challenges and opportunities facing us, the issues of the decade: inclusion and sustainability. Inclusion. Does everyone in fact belong and feel they belong and experience justice and fairness and opportunity, whatever your income or skin color, whatever language you speak or God you worship, whatever your ability or disability, whomever you love, whatever your age or gender identity? Does everyone feel a part of, belong to our community and our future? Can everyone succeed and thrive here? We are politically more liberal, but demographically less diverse than America. We are more educated, but poorer than America. How do we become more diverse, more just, and more prosperous for all? And sustainability. Do we advance climate justice and do our part? Are we helping all our residents live high quality lives with low carbon impact? We have a higher carbon footprint than the average American community. How do we adequately lean into the climate emergency all around us? Now, here's the good news. When we make our community more inclusive and more sustainable, we are making our quality of life better and better. It's making Bloomington reflect our values and also helping us just be a great place to live. Good things are already underway. Our community has been working on these two issues for years, on inclusion, investing in economic recovery with more and better jobs and more housing security. Our divided communities racial equity plan and new task forces, anti-racism training, and on sustainability, a climate action plan this spring, building on last year's sustainability action plan, a green ribbon panel by fall, and all the many historic efforts toward a more walkable, greener, high-quality city. As next steps, perhaps we should name some new goals to aim for, like an expanded, more subsidized network of public transportation serving more people more effectively, like 300 new affordable housing units every year, like 500 new good-paying jobs every year, like increasing our diversity and lowering our per capita carbon footprint. We are making progress, but we don't have all the answers to keep advancing on these two big opportunities of inclusion and sustainability, and how to reach the next level to lift up every one of our people and to help save our fragile planet. I have ideas, and so do you. Council and administration, let's get together. City and county and region, let's get together. Government and residents and private sector, let's get together. Town and gown, let's get together so our community can and will rise up to meet these challenges in the coming decade. As we pivot out of 2020, there are two structural issues that also face us, both basic to Bloomington's long-term future. Just over 4 years ago, in February 2017, we began a long overdue annexation process. That orderly public effort was unceremoniously and unconstitutionally interrupted by a radical overreaching act of our state legislature. The Indiana Supreme Court just recently ruled in Bloomington's favor and said the legislature acted illegally, violating the state constitution. We now must choose how to go forward. Strong and healthy cities grow through time. It's natural and it's important. For the first 185 years of our history, our boundaries grew steadily in tempo with our population. But since 2004, despite steady population growth, we have been frozen in size. A city whose boundaries don't grow with its population becomes an unhealthy mishmash of services, planning, oversight, and political accountability. We are stronger together. An integrated, vibrant Bloomington can thrive and help all the people of our entire region prosper. We can sustain and protect that important, healthy regional balance between urban and rural areas. I look forward to working with City Council and all our partners to chart a path forward in the coming months. Second, last year, I urged the importance of new revenue to match our community's goals and purpose. Meeting great ambitions and putting values into practice requires resources. Is Indiana's most progressive community generating revenue commensurate with our values and goals? Do we have the resources to invest in putting our values into practice to address inclusion and sustainability? We have very low combined local property and income taxes, among the lowest of Indiana's 30 largest cities. We have a lower income tax rate than 3/4 of Indiana's counties, and we're lower than all 6 of our contiguous counties. I believe as we pivot into 2021 to the future, to renewal, we will need thoughtfully to align our ambitions and goals, our expectations for our community and ourselves, align them explicitly with our available resources. I look forward to working again with city and county partners on this issue. And we can hope and urge that Congress will quickly pass pandemic relief packages, including support for local governments like ours. I believe we need big dreams and ambitious goals. And we also need to work in the quotidian messiness of improving things day by day and year by year. Our vision for the decade and beyond should be audacious and bold. Our approach must be practical as we work to make actual progress on the ground step by step. And as we work to get things done, we need to find the helpers, the positive forces for change, the people and institutions who cooperate and roll up their sleeves. Negativity and attacks are often easier than positivity and trust. Our social media culture and our finger pointing and whataboutism and virtue signaling can sometimes overwhelm the nitty-gritty, day-to-day hard work of making progress through dialogue and compromise and mutual aid. We have to find a way to work together on hard things with trust and positive energy to help each other. Didn't the pandemic, after all, teach us just this, that we can work together? We can meet extraordinary challenges one step at a time with trust, that we can change quickly with the helpers in the lead, with goodwill and with reason, with transparency and accountability. The pandemic taught us the stakes of having racial equity in healthcare, of caring for and respecting all our workers and residents. Inclusion matters. The pandemic taught us that distant events around the globe or over time can dramatically change things right here in Bloomington, whether tiny viruses or molecules of CO2. Sustainability matters. We learned that we can do so much together when we set our minds to it, to protect and strengthen our beloved community. Tonight, we remember. We remember loved ones and friends we lost. We remember heroes and doers and helpers we cherish. We recover. We recover together out of a pandemic and out of a recession, holding hands and connecting hearts, pulling out of a dismal hollow onto higher ground. And tonight we renew. We renew our vision and our optimism, pivoting into what could and should be a grand decade to chart and change our future toward inclusion, toward sustainability. We pivot to better times ahead. When Bloomington thrives, our county and our region thrive. We need to lead the way to better times ahead. And I am confident that that is just what we can do. We're going through some very tough times, but the state of our city is strong and our future is bright. Remember, recover, renew. Thank you, City Council. Thank you all for participating in this event. At the conclusion of this event, the meeting will formally end, the City Council meeting, and there may be opportunities for some of these videos. I'm sorry, we've had some technical difficulties, but the meeting will officially adjourn at this conclusion.